Cluster A personality disorders. Paranoid personality disorder. Diagnostic criteria 301.0 F60.0. A pervasive distrust and suspiciousness of others such that their motives are interpreted as malevolent, beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts, as indicated by four or more of the following. 1. Suspects, without sufficient basis, that others are exploiting, harming, or deceiving him or her. 2. Is preoccupied with unjustified doubts about the loyalty or trustworthiness of friends or associates. 3. Is reluctant to confide in others because of unwarranted fear that the information will be used maliciously against him or her. 4. Reacts nope. 4. Reads hidden demeaning or threatening meanings into benign remarks or events. 5. Persistently bears grudges, i.e., is unforgiving of insults, injuries, or slights. 6. Perceives attacks on his or her character or reputation that are not apparent to others and is quick to react angrily or to counterattack. 7. Has recurrent suspicions without justification regarding fidelity of spouse or sexual partner. B. Does not occur exclusively during the course of schizophrenia, a bipolar disorder, or depressive disorder with psychotic features, or another psychotic disorder, and is not attributable to the physiological effects of another medical condition. Note, if criteria are met prior to the onset of schizophrenia, add premorbid, i.e., paranoid personality disorder premorbid. Diagnostic features. The essential feature of paranoid personality disorder is a pattern of pervasive distrust and suspiciousness of others such that their motives are interpreted as malevolent. This pattern begins by early adulthood and is present in a variety of contexts. Individuals with this disorder assume that other people will exploit, harm, or deceive them, even if no evidence exists to support this expectation. Criterion A1. They suspect, on the basis of little or no evidence, that others are plotting against them and may attack them suddenly, at any time, and without reason. They often feel that they have been deeply and irreversibly injured by another person or persons, even when there is no objective evidence for this. They are preoccupied with unjustified doubts about the loyalty or trustworthiness of their friends and associates, whose actions are minutely scrutinized for evidence of hostile intentions. Criterion A2. Any perceived deviation from trustworthiness or loyalty serves to support their underlying assumptions. They are so amazed when a friend or an associate shows loyalty that they cannot trust or believe it. If they get into trouble, they expect that friends and associates will either attack or ignore them. Individuals with paranoid personality disorder are reluctant to confide in or become close to others because they fear that the information they share will be used against them. Criterion A3. They may refuse to answer personal questions, saying that the information is nobody's business. They read hidden meanings that are demeaning and threatening into benign remarks or events. Criterion A4. For example, an individual with the disorder may misinterpret an honest mistake by a store clerk as a deliberate attempt to shortchange or view a casual humorous remark by a coworker as a serious character attack. Compliments are often misinterpreted, e.g., a compliment on a new acquisition is misinterpreted as a criticism for selfishness. A compliment on an accomplishment is misinterpreted as an attempt to coerce more and better performance. They may view an offer of help as a criticism that they are not doing well enough on their own. Individuals with this disorder persistently bear grudges and are unwilling to forgive the insults, injuries, or slights that they think they have received. Criterion A5. Minor slights arouse major hostility, and the hostile feelings persist for a long time. Because they are constantly vigilant to the harmful intentions of others, they very often feel that their character or reputation has been attacked or that they have been slighted in some other way. They are quick to counterattack and react with anger to perceived insults. Criterion A6. Individuals with this disorder may be pathologically jealous, often suspecting that their spouse or sexual partner is unfaithful without any adequate justification. Criterion A7. They may gather trivial and circumstantial evidence to support their jealous beliefs. They want to maintain complete control of intimate relationships to avoid being betrayed, and may constantly question and challenge the whereabouts, actions, intentions, and fidelity of their spouse or partner. Paranoid, paranoid personality disorder should not be diagnosed if the pattern of behavior occurs exclusively during the course of schizophrenia, a bipolar disorder, or depressive disorder with psychotic features, or another psychotic disorder, or if it is attributable to the physiological effects of a neurological, e.g., temporal lobe epilepsy, or another medical condition, criterion B. Associated features supporting diagnosis. Individuals with paranoid personality disorder are generally difficult to get along with and often have problems with close relationships. Their excessive suspiciousness and hostility may be expressed in overt argumentativeness, in recurrent complaining, or by quiet, apparently hostile aloofness. Because they are hypervigilant for potential threats, they may act in a guarded, secretive, or devious manner and appear to be cold and lacking in tender feelings. Although they may appear to be objective, rational, and unemotional, they may often display a labile range of affect with hostile, stubborn, and sarcastic expressions predominating. Their, their combative and suspicious natures may elicit a hostile response in others, which then serves to confirm their original expectations. Because individuals with paranoid personality disorder lack trust in others, they have an excessive need to be self sufficient and a strong sense of autonomy. They also need to have a high degree of control over those around them. They are often rigid, critical of others, and unable to collaborate, although they have great difficulty accepting criticism themselves. They may blame others for their own shortcomings. Because of their quickness to counterattack in response to the threats they perceive around them, they may be litigious and frequently become involved in legal disputes. Individuals with this disorder seek to confirm their preconceived negative notions regarding people or situations they encounter, attributing malevolent motivations to others that are projections of their own fears. They may exhibit thinly hidden, unrealistic, grandiose fantasies, are often attuned to issues of power and rank, and tend to develop negative stereotypes of others, particularly those from population groups distinct from their own. Attracted by simplistic formulations of the world, they are often wary of ambiguous situations. They may be perceived as fanatics and form tightly knit cults or groups with others who share these paranoid belief systems. Particularly in response to stress, individuals with this disorder may experience very brief psychotic episodes, lasting minutes to hours. In some instances, paranoid personality disorder may appear as the premorbid antecedent of delusional disorder or schizophrenia. Individuals with paranoid personality disorder may develop major depressive disorder and may be at increased risk for agoraphobia and obsessive compulsive disorder. Alcohol and other substance use disorders frequently occur. The most common co-occurring personality disorders appear to be schizotypal, schizoid, narcissistic, avoidant, and borderline. Prevalence. A prevalence estimate for paranoid personality based on a probability subsample from Part 2 of the National Comorbidity Survey replication suggests a prevalence of 2.3%, while the National Epidemiological Survey on Alcohol and Related Conditions data suggest a prevalence of paranoid personality disorder of 4.4%. Development and course. Paranoid personality disorders may be first apparent in childhood and adolescence with solitariness, poor peer relationships, social anxiety, underachievement in school, hypersensitivity, peculiar thoughts and language, and idiosyncratic fantasies. These children may appear to be odd or eccentric and attract teasing. In clinical examples, this disorder appears to be more commonly diagnosed in males. Risk and prognostic factors, genetic and physiological. There is some evidence for an increased prevalence of paranoid personality disorder in relatives of probans with schizophrenia and for a more specific familial relationship with delusional disorder, persecutory type. Culture-related diagnostic issues. Some behaviors that are influenced by sociocultural context or specific life circumstances may be erroneously labeled paranoid and may even be reinforced by the process of clinical evaluation. Members of minority groups, immigrants, political and economic refugees, or individuals of different ethnic backgrounds may display guarded or defensive behaviors because of unfamiliarity, e.g., language barriers or lack of knowledge of rules and regulations, or in response to the perceived neglect or indifference of the majority society. These behaviors can in turn generate anger and frustration in those who deal with these individuals, thus setting up a vicious cycle of mutual mistrust, which should not be confused with paranoid personality disorder. Some ethnic groups also display culturally related behaviors that can be misinterpreted as paranoid. Differential diagnosis. Other mental disorders with psychotic symptoms. Paranoid personality disorder can be distinguished from delusional disorder, persecutory type, schizophrenia, and a bipolar or depressive disorder with psychotic features because these disorders are all characterized by a period of persistent psychotic symptoms, e.g., delusions and hallucinations. For an additional diagnosis of paranoid personality disorder to be given, the personality disorder must have been present before the onset of psychotic symptoms and must persist when the psychotic symptoms are in remission. When an individual has another persistent mental disorder, e.g., schizophrenia, that was preceded by paranoid personality disorder should also be recorded followed by premorbid in parentheses. Personality change due to another medical condition. Paranoid personality disorder must be distinguished from personality change due to another medical condition in which the traits that emerge are attributable to the direct effects of another medical condition on the central nervous system. Substance use disorders. Paranoid personality disorder must be distinguished from symptoms that may develop in association with persistent substance use. Paranoid traits associated with physical handicaps. The disorder must also be distinguished from paranoid traits associated with the development of physical handicaps, e.g., a hearing impairment. Other personality disorders and personality traits. Other personality disorders may be confused with paranoid personality disorder because they have certain features in common. It is therefore important to distinguish among these disorders based on differences in their characteristic features. However, if an individual has personality features that meet criteria for one or more personality disorders, in addition to paranoid personality disorder, all can be diagnosed. Paranoid personality disorder and schizotypal personality disorders share the traits of suspiciousness, interpersonal aloofness, and paranoid ideation. But schizotypal personality disorders also include symptoms such as magical thinking, unusual perception experiences, and odd thinking in speech. Individuals with behaviors that meet criteria for schizoid personality disorder are often perceived as strange, eccentric, cold, and aloof, but they do not usually have prominent paranoid ideation. The tendency of individuals with paranoid personality disorder to react to minor stimuli with anger is also seen in borderline and histrionic personality disorders. However, these disorders are not necessarily associated with pervasive suspiciousness. People with avoidant personality disorder may also be reluctant to confide in others, but more from fear of being embarrassed or found inadequate than from fear of others' malicious intent. Although antisocial behavior may be present in some individuals with paranoid personality disorder, it is not usually motivated by a desire for personal gain or to exploit others as in antisocial personality disorder, but rather is more often attributable to a desire for revenge. Individuals with narcissistic personality disorder may occasionally display suspiciousness, social withdrawal, or alienation, but this derives primarily from fears of having their imperfections or flaws revealed. Paranoid traits may be adaptive, particularly in threatening environments. Paranoid personality disorder should be diagnosed only when these traits are inflexible, maladaptive, and persisting and cause significant functional impairment or subjective distress.